Hello and welcome to Live Well Sister. I'm so excited to be here this evening. And for those of you who don't know me, this is your girl, Marcie Thomas, founder of Brown Girl Collective, and of course, Live Well Sister. If this is your first time joining us, Live Well Sister is a space where I am honored to talk to wonderful Black women specifically who are all about helping us live our best lives, whether it's our spirits, what our relationships, our health, our finances, or just sometimes having fun. That's important for us to do, is to have a little bit of Black girl joy. So that's what Live Well Sister is all about. And tonight I'm especially excited because we're going to get into some things as it pertains to our health. So come on in the room, and if you don't mind, you can drop in the comments, let us know where you're joining us from, or if it's your first time, and please share it out with others as well who you think may need this information. So sometime a year or so ago, I discovered a brand of Black owned vitamins and supplements. So how exciting is that? And it's called PROBLK Health. And we have one of the co-founders of that wonderful brand with us this evening, Dr. Karleena Tuggle-McDaniel. She's been a physician for over 16 years in predominantly minority communities and a weight loss surgeon for the past 11 years. She's constantly seeing patients who have health issues that are often preventable or controllable with improved lifestyle modifications. So she wanted to create something that most people could access, afford, and do daily that positively contributed to their overall health. Along with her husband, Darian McDaniel, they decided to develop this brand of vitamin supplements called PROBLK Health Vitamins. Because at least 92% of Black people have some level of vitamin deficiency, which medical research has shown contributes to several physical ailments, this was just the solution that Dr. Karleena was looking for. And if that's not enough, these wonderful vitamins and supplements also follow all of the guidelines for national safety, and 50% of their profits go back to other nonprofits that work towards eradicating health disparities in Black communities. So without any further delay, come on in the room with us, Dr. Karleena.
Hi.
Welcome. I'm so excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here.
Yes, yes. And for those who don't know, I live in the ATL area and she's in the ATL. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for that too.
Whoa.
We're both transplants from other places. So
Yes.
this is really exciting that we're able to come here and join. Okay, we have someone from Delaware in the room. Welcome, Terry. We appreciate that. So wow, there's just so much when it comes to Black women or Black people and our health. So
Mhm.
just to get us started, just tell us a little bit about your journey in getting into medicine, and just some of the things, what made you go that in that direction, and
Okay.
just some of the things that you've discovered, especially specifically as it pertains to Black women in health.
Of course. So, how I got into medicine is kind of a debatable story. My father says that since I was a child, I've always said that. I do not recall that. I do remember my mom passed away from breast cancer when I was 12. So I remember there being like health issues that I was growing up around. I remember always being really good at math and science. And my dad, there was no other option for me but to go to college. All right, so go to college and do pre-med. Easy, fine. So if you're going to do pre-med, you got to apply to med school. Okay, fine, did that. So then I was in med school, and then I had to pick a specialty. I hated everything. I sort of like surgery, so I was like, I'm going to go with that one. And then surgery itself is a very gratifying specialty because you're like fixing things. If it's kinked, you unkink it. If it's bent, you straighten it. If it's clogged, you unblock it. I mean, that, and for me, I need to see it happening. So it just kind of, my steps were ordered where all of a sudden it was like, well, I've come this far. This is what I'm going to do. And I enjoyed it because I love to see people who are ailing or hurting or seeking help or seeking guidance kind of get what they need to be a better version of themselves. So I got into weight loss surgery because general surgery itself, you kind of don't know what you're going to get. And I don't like working in the emergency room. I liked having like a routine. And weight loss surgery I found to be almost on par in terms of life changing, like a cancer surgeon, without the the doom and the gloom. Most
Okay.
people are going to make it out and do well. And when they do well, they actually change their lives. And it's like having a second lease on life. And to see people take advantage of that and do things that a lot of people take for granted, not having to walk with a walker, not having to take all these medications, being able to go on vacation and you're not being left at home, going to a company Christmas party. And there's little things that
Wow.
when you're able-bodied and you feel good, you don't realize a lot of people don't feel comfortable in their own skin. They feel trapped in these bodies that have kind of deteriorated from being overweight, being obese, all the illnesses that come with being obese, and to be able to help them for the health reasons. When I say I'm a weight loss surgeon, a lot of people say, oh, liposuction, tummy tucks. That's cosmetic. I don't do that. I do on the inside. The weight loss is an amazing side effect. But what makes me super happy and excited is when, oh, you're off your CPAP machine. Oh, you're off your diabetes medication. Oh, you're off your high blood pressure medications. Oh, you're able to walk a mile a day. And before you could barely walk from your couch to your bedroom. And that is what just totally just like fills my heart with so much joy, because we're only given this life for a one. It's a one lap deal. You know, you do it and it can be over at any time, and there's no do-overs. So you need to take advantage of living your life to the maximum that you want to live it. If there's something that's not making you happy, not making you comfortable or feel good, and there's something you can do about it, the time is now, because you may not wake up tomorrow. So
That's
I
true.
really want to just I have this passion for wake up. If you're not happy, do something about it, or you don't complain about it. We're here to help you, but you can't, cry baby dirty face it and then not want to do what you need to do to be where you want to be. So long story short, that's how I got to actually doing weight loss
Okay.
surgery. But I'm from New York. I was in DC for 13 years, Baltimore for 4 years. I'm in Atlanta now. So most of the patients that I see are Black and brown. Look like
Okay.
my family members, my cousins, my friends, and like attracts like. So I want us to do better because I've seen how the world looks at us. I see how they
Mm-hmm.
assume that we're all sick. We don't care about ourselves. We don't care about our health. We'll just do whatever, eat whatever.
Right.
And it's like, we are way better than all of that. The potential is there. A lot of it is education. A lot of it is accountability. But okay, well, let's start individually and then collectively coming together and talking about these issues, being a support system, showing you where to start. A lot of people just need guidance. But it's possible. These are things that are not out of reach once we start to have these discussions.
Absolutely. And I mean, you just said so many things in that. And there are a couple of things we talked about in the brown room, I like to call
Mm-hmm.
it. And, one of those things is the fact that, there are ways that things impact us in our community. As I was telling you earlier, I was talking to one of my Caucasian coworkers and telling her you were coming on, and we were talking about, the fact that, there's so many Black people who are overweight. And she's like, really? I never really noticed that. And I'm like, okay. As we said, like, yes. But then you know what, though? The other part of it is, and my mom and I were talking about this, is
Mm-hmm.
sometimes because of our body structures being
Yes.
different, what's heavy to one person might not be heavy to us.
Yes.
So
Yes.
talk a little bit about that, because I know a lot of times we use BMI as an
Uh-huh.
indicator of
Uh-huh.
healthy weight, but it's different for us.
It is. It is because what BMI, so a BMI, which is body mass index, is
Mm-hmm.
it puts your height with your weight. And it's a math equation to spit out a number. Because somebody who's 300 pounds and 6 feet is a much different category than someone who's 5 feet and 300 pounds, right? And it's very confusing to just be spouting out heights and weights. What does it all mean? So you plug it in, you get a number. Now, traditionally, like what insurance companies go by, what the medical community still goes by is healthy weight. And I'm using quotations because, again, this is
Mm-hmm.
up for debate as well. But healthy weight is a BMI of 20 to 25. Overweight is 25 to 30. Obese is 30 to 35. Morbid obesity starts at 35 and higher, which is why if you were to consider weight loss surgery or bariatric surgery, they don't even consider paying for it until your BMI is at least 35. Because the
No.
risk of being ill or dying from high blood pressure, diabetes, sleep apnea, high cholesterol, other things is much higher the higher your BMI goes up. So they feel like the risks start to everything about money, but they feel that they're going to get their money's worth once you get to that 35 point. Now, almost 2/3 of Black women, Black girls, are overweight to obese, right?
Gotcha.
So then you go into body composition because BMI doesn't account for muscle mass, it doesn't account for bone density. It's literally a strict weight, and that weight can be composed of a lot of different things. However, then there's that debate of self-love and body positivity. I'm sorry, yeah, self-love and body positivity, right? Because I feel that you should love yourself. You should love the skin that you're in, right? I'm not going to judge what's beautiful, what's too big, what's too small. But what I need people to understand is there gets to be a certain weight for your height where if you're not sick yet, you're going to probably have issues down the road because our hearts are all about the same size. Our skeletons are all about the same size, and they're meant to only carry a certain load. We're all really machines. Yes, we're squishy and we're skin and we're this or that, but we can only weight load so much before our bones and our joints break down. Before your heart is just beating so hard, you're going to have less beats than the person whose heart doesn't have to beat as hard. Your pancreas is fighting. The extra weight stimulates the pancreas to make insulin, to spur insulin, which makes your body want to store fat. Well, after a while, your pancreas is like, listen, I can't work this hard. So there's all these things that are bound to happen where you say, well, I want my inside to be as beautiful as I feel my outside looks. And you have to start paying attention to, okay, even though I'm comfortable, my health is starting to become compromised. And you need to love all of you, not just all of this. There's a lot of cute people in caskets. I love saying that. Every day we are burying some fine women, okay, gorgeous women, but they're dying young of illnesses that are traditionally reserved for older people because they're not looking at the whole picture. So I want you to feel good, but I want you to be aware of how are my insides doing? You know, what's my blood pressure? What's my blood sugar? How does my back feel? How do my joints feel? These are things that need to be considered when you think about, you know, how do you feel about yourself as a whole?
And that's so important because I'm listening and I'm like, yeah, because I know in my lifetime I've gone up, I've gone down. Now I'm more on the upswing. And we talked about that pandemic and and getting lazy during the pandemic and things like that. But you are so right. I can tell in my joints. I can tell when I walk up a flight of steps and I feel a little more winded, things like that. I'm getting to work on that, and everybody, I'll be sharing more of what's coming up with that. Actually, within the next couple of days, I'm working with an organization that's all about exercise. But yeah, I mean, those are the things that you can tell the difference. Or like you were saying even earlier, I don't want it to be that if I go to the amusement park, I can't fit on the ride. Or something.
Or you can't keep up with the friends and family. They're going and you got to take a break every 10 minutes. I mean,
Right,
there's so many
right,
things
right.
that it's like,
Yeah, so these things are important, and it's not always just about the aesthetic. It's about what's happening on the insides of us, and also being able to, potentially avoid certain diseases and prolong our lives.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I know that you probably deal with all sorts of people, but of course, this is all about Black women. So,
Yeah, I'm
so,
with it.
so what types of things do you generally find that the patients that you see are dealing with in terms of health conditions? What are some of the main things that you see when they're coming in, contemplating getting weight loss surgery?
Sure, sure. So the most common, the kind of the layup, so the ones that I'm sure you wouldn't be surprised to hear is the high blood pressure, the diabetes, even if it's pre-diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea. Those are all very closely linked to being overweight and obese. The one thing that may or may not surprise a lot of people is the mental health issues. There is a very high rate of depression and anxiety. And what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Because a lot of people, they emotionally eat, whether they realize it or not. And you feel a certain way, you feel sad, you feel anxious. So you eat, you're gaining weight because you're eating more calories than you're able to burn. And the bigger you get, the more depressed you get. So then you start to eat your feelings again. And it's like a vicious cycle that is very difficult to get out of. And the stress that a lot of patients, especially, I would say 70% of my patients are Black women.
Okay.
Another 10% would be, Hispanic. I don't really see too many Asians. And then maybe 20% of my patients are men, which is for a whole nother conversation because they need it, but they just don't do a lot about it.
Okay.
But I say that to say that I hear so many stories from us about just the stress of being a mother, being a wife, being the breadwinner of a family. Your kids are locked up, kids are in trouble, a lot of special need children where the mother is like having to juggle taking care of them and working, and they want to go back to school. So the stress itself can also kind of perpetuate a lot of these habits, but can also elevate your blood pressure, can also increase your catecholamines and different hormones, your stress hormones, which is very hard on your body. There was a study that I was looking at that was looking at stress and blood pressure. And the people who felt that they had a way to vent, they could talk about it, they had a support system, the same issues, but had a place where they could kind of release it, had lower blood pressure than people who felt they had no one to talk to and held it in. And a lot of us don't either have or know how to talk to other people about our issues, and it eats us. It's literally eating you alive. So you have all of that on top of just the issues and living in a world where everything is preservatives and salt and quick fix and this and that. So it's like we're just ticking time bomb for our bodies to really just be kind of deteriorating much faster than they were meant to.
Okay. Well, all of that makes sense. Just I really didn't even think about the mental health piece of it though, because I was jotting down my notes, and we know heart
Oh
disease,
no.
we know stroke,
It
we know
Yeah,
high blood pressure, diabetes,
exactly.
reproductive health issues. We know those things, but you don't really think about necessarily the mental, and that
Even
is
cancer. Almost every cancer is a higher chance in people who are overweight than obese than
something.
those who are healthy weight. And a big reason of that is the more fat that you have on your body, fat itself makes your body produce more estrogen. And estrogen is a hormone that's good in certain amounts, but estrogen is a stimulant that makes cells become inflamed. So cancer cells are normal cells that just kind of one day flip. And what makes one thing that can make a cell flip is constant irritation from whatever it is. So if your whole body is being bathed, all your cells are constantly in this inflammatory environment, the odds of your cells starting to flip and become cancerous is much higher than if you were able to neutralize that. So, I mean, it's really interesting once you kind of get into it, like all the different things that extra weight, what harm it can do in our bodies.
And I'm just sitting here, I'm listening to you and looking at you, and I just can't imagine that you said 70% of your clients are Black women. I just think it's so powerful to have someone who looks like you in this space, because I know it's not that other people can't be good at what they do, but there's just something about a cultural competency that
There
and
definitely is.
understanding that you
Uh-huh.
bring to the table when you have the opportunity to talk to someone. You understand, some of our diets and the way that we may
Uh-huh.
have been eating and doing things traditionally or whatever. So I think that that's just powerful that you're in that space. Okay, I'm gonna make sure you still there?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. Because it hesitated
Sorry.
for a second. Oh, yeah, it hesitated for a
I was
second.
like
But
screen save.
oh,
What
okay.
is it?
Okay. Your
Yeah.
screen was doing something. Okay,
Okay.
gotcha. But yes, I just think that that's so powerful to have someone who can, speak to those things. One of the other things, and we talked about this a little bit, because a lot of times the first thing is people say, "Oh, you just need to eat better. You just need to, do these things." And sometimes it's not as easy as it sounds,
Mhm.
because we may be living in an area where we don't have access to the best foods, fruits and vegetables and all these things.
Mhm.
So, as you are working with clients, how is that something that you kind of help encourage them if they're in a situation where maybe those things are more challenging?
Yeah, of course. And that is a very big deal. The hospital that I work in is in a less affluent area in the suburbs, just south of the city. So it affects a lot of my patients. I would say maybe 60% of my patients are Medicare and Medicaid patients. Um, so it's a different socioeconomic status, but it's awesome that Medicare and Medicaid does pay for the surgery, because there are a lot of commercial payers. It's not that the commercial payers don't, but a lot of employers do not put bariatric rider on their insurance.
Mm,
So everyone who's interested needs to call the company and see if their employer opted in to have that coverage, because it's really up to
gotcha.
the employer to decide if they're going to pay extra for that. I don't call it a privilege, but for that benefit. But
Mm,
Medicare, Medicaid, which is government, actually will pay for it.
okay.
So knowing that, a lot of it is education, because there's a lot of myths around what is healthy, what isn't healthy, and access to healthier foods or fresh foods is an issue. But something as simple as, and I learned so much from my dietitian, and I'm a good doctor, I'm a sucky dietitian. There's only so many facts I can keep in my head, and that's a
Right.
whole onto itself. So, once we get past the basics, I'm like, hey, you got to talk to Evan. He's the guy. He can tell you, really down to like a molecular level what you should do. But what he taught me, was that frozen fruits and vegetables have all the same nutrients as fresh. So a lot of people think, oh, well, if it's frozen, it's not as good, but that may be all that you have access to.
Right.
So looking at your frozen fruits and vegetables is an amazing thing to be able to do to try to incorporate healthier options. Cans gets a little tricky. You really have to look at the ingredients, because a lot of canned
Sodium.
vegetables have salt, exactly, the sodium and other preservatives. So I wouldn't say that's my first choice. But there are some where if you kind of look at the sodium content and all the other, if there are how many extra ingredients are in there, will that, will what is it called? Is the juice worth the squeeze on those? But people
Gotcha.
really underestimate the frozen food section, especially when it's like flash frozen, because
Hmm.
they kind of pick it, freeze it, and once you thaw it out, it's still it's fresh. It was just frozen kind of on the spot. So
Mm,
doing things like that. Also understanding that a lot of people think that fruit juice is not bad for them. And fruit juice as a
mm,
whole is not bad. But if you actually look at the label, there's so much sugar in fruit juice. But
hmm.
they're like, oh, I drink so much orange juice. A serving of orange juice has like 35 grams of sugar in it, or grams of carbs in it, which is almost how much soda has in it. So at the end of the day, and people will know soda's so bad, but think apple juice and orange juice is good. They think that no added sugar is the same thing as no sugar, but that's not true. No added sugar means that it's not super sweet. There's still a bunch of sugar that just comes with it naturally.
Right.
So even learning how to read your labels, if you don't have all the resources, can at least guide you to making healthier choices. Learning how to prepare your food differently. I was just talking, I'm working with a chef to do some content in the future. What we're thinking about is, going to different fast food places, because sometimes you can't help it. You're on the run, you're this, you're that. But what are the healthier options on a menu to get,
Mhm.
And what people have to understand is being healthy is a very intentional act. It just doesn't fall onto you. You're not like, oh, I'm just going to live my life and the healthy choices are going to come to me. These are
Mhm.
things that like you have to look for, you have to seek out, you have to fight the urges to always do what you want to do and do what you need to do. And that's all about your why. You know, one of the first things I ask my patients, why do you want this now? You've lived the last 20, 30 years doing a certain thing. So what makes you want to do this to live a different life? Because it's going to take you changing a whole lot. You're going to change everything, but you can't expect to do the same things you're doing now and get different results. So what is your why? Because it's going to be hard. So obesity is a chronic disease, and I can give you a tool to make it easier to fight it, but you're still going to fight it every day that you wake up. I can't take the fight or that battle away from you, but you're going to have to want to do it. And when it gets hard, remember, oh, I want to see my kids graduate. I want to see my grandkids. I want to travel more. I want to, instead of taking 10 meds, maybe I want to take 2. Like, that's what's got to keep your focus, because it's going to be a struggle. And surgery is not the easy way out. And a lot of people, their friends, their family, or why do you want to do that? And it's going to kill you. And that's the easy way. It's cheating. It is a struggle. It is a struggle. And it's often more of a struggle afterwards, because one, you know, you feel more guilty because you did all this to get the surgery, and it's natural to want to go back to what you're comfortable with, you know, and a lot of people are emotional eaters that they underestimate. So there's an added guilt and shame, especially when the people around you know you did it and you start to regain weight. So you're so now a different dynamic. And it's really interesting, kind of just the social aspect of it, in terms of just relationships, how people see themselves, how they interact with the world. But it has to be on purpose. Being healthy is not on accident. It never is, because it's typically the path less traveled.
Right. And as you were saying that, and this is just a real quick story because I want to pivot into PROBLK Health Vitamins. Yes. Well, one last thing, as you were saying that, I was really thinking about kind of the mental thing and just people and habits, because I have a friend years ago. I had a friend who got the surgery, right? And after she got the surgery, started losing the weight. And first thing happened, some of her relationships started to change because people were used to her in a certain body, and you know, she was feeling herself, you know, and things like that in a way that maybe she didn't before. So I saw how things in some of her other relationships started to change. That's one thing. Second thing was she had an addictive personality.
And
so
she traded it to another one.
To drinking.
Yep.
So,
very common.
And I'm thinking that she wasn't getting the mental piece to help her understand that, you know, the food was one thing, but there's still some other things that need to be figured out or sorted out.
No, that's 100% true. And I think, especially over the last year, what I hear more patients, you have to learn how to eat and drink again. But what they often tell me that they underestimate is their emotional connection to food. And when you can't use food, which is your crutch, the same way that you're used to, it's almost like having an itch you can't scratch. So it's easy to pivot to something else, to alcohol, to gambling, to sex addiction. It's really interesting. And on the front end, I really stress this to patients. I said, how you go to sleep is how you wake up. I don't bypass your brain. I don't bypass your memories. I cannot change the dynamics. I can't go into your house and fix any of that. So you may need counseling, you know, on a regular basis after surgery to help deal with that. You got to figure out how to shift that energy to healthy coping mechanisms. You don't want to do something that's destructive.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, as you were talking, that was, you remember when your friend, like, so that's definitely, that's definitely a thing. So now I do want to pivot because of course, a part of our health, you can get out here and move your bodies and things like that. And, eat differently, change the way, I'm not gonna say go on a diet, but change your diet, change the way that you eat and your intake of food. But also supplements. And that's what your PROBLK Health Vitamins is all about supplements. So I do know, as I said in your introduction, that 92% of African Americans are vitamin deficient. So talk to us a little bit about that, and how that kind of segued into you starting your own PROBLK Health Vitamins company.
Of course. So it's kind of like it's a couple things that kind of all came together. In terms of the vitamins themselves, I check blood work constantly on everybody because of the surgery, before surgery, after surgery, all this stuff. And I started seeing a trend, and it's trends that I've seen before, but now that, I'm kind of the only doc who does what I do, I'm seeing a lot more of it. Before I had nurses and mid-levels, but now everything has to come across, my desk. And I was like, man, vitamin D is low on almost everybody. Iron is almost low on everybody. So that was something that I started noticing. And the most common reason, so do you take vitamins? What do you think the most common reason is when people say that they don't take vitamins?
They don't like swallowing pills, or it could be the cost, because sometimes they can be expensive.
Yeah,
but I'd probably say the
less
first.
the cost. I mean, when I say less the cost, not that that's important, but that's not the most common thing I hear. I hear, I don't like taking pills. I don't like how they taste. They hurt my stomach, all these things. Okay, and those may be true to these individuals, right? Either way, healthy habits is not doing something once, right? So it's about compliance, repetition, and consistency. So I was like, all right, well, sorry, something's going on outside.
Are you sure you're not in New York? I'm just messing with you.
I live in Midtown, and Midtown.
Oh, okay.
Right now, it's so much stuff going in Midtown. So I was like, well, I want to figure out something about how do I get people in the habit of doing something on a regular basis, right? So then I work in the ER. I take ER call, and there's so many young. When I say young, 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 40 years old, horrible diabetes, horrible high blood pressure. Consequences of their diabetes, these infections are getting limbs amputated, they're getting colostomy bags, they're having strokes. And I'm like, these are diseases that you think are happening to 70 and 80-year-olds, but these are just young people. Or when was the last time you went to the doctor? I don't go to the doctor for whatever reason, lack of insurance, lack of trust, not a priority, whatever the case is, right? But what kind of dawned on me is that not everything is preventable, but practicing preventative medicine, and when I say preventative medicine, trying to see a doctor at least once a year just to get like a once over. People will take their car to get checked out at least once a year. That's like a big deal. A lot of people go to the dentist more often than they go to the doctor. Not everybody, and that's another health issue that is really, affects your whole system. But it's so many things that we invest in. And the one body you got, you don't got two bodies, you don't got a body in your closet, you don't have a body in storage. We just we don't take care of. And I was like, well, okay, we need to focus on really educating people about it's important to check your blood pressure, see how high it is. It's important to know what your blood sugar is. It's important to know what your vitamin levels are. And how do we communicate that where people understand that if you catch something early, it's typically a lot easier to treat than waiting until something is bleeding, it's falling off, you can't stand up, you've missed a week of work, because that's where I see them in the emergency room. We use the emergency room like preventative care, but that's when you're all the way into the thick of things, and it's a big, big problem. So how do we start with just like yearly visits? So Darian, who's my husband, he kind of got sick and tired of me coming home just like complaining. I was like, I don't get it. Like, why don't they do it? And he was like, exactly. From perspective, obviously I see things through a different lens, and I have to sometimes step back and say, well, a lot of people don't have the same, like they don't see it the way that I see it. But he was like, hey babe, you're so pro-Black health. And I was like, ha ha ha, that's so funny, blah, blah, blah. And then another day he was watching Shark Tank, and these guys had made beach towels. And they were giving a part of the profit to save like marine life. And he was like, if they can save these fish, we can save Black people. Right. And it just like made sense, like, what is something we can do? Vitamins. Okay. That's something, an individual investment in your health can help the community, like how to make it bigger than just ourselves. Right. So that's kind of how the concept and everything happens. But we also sought to, how do we make it appealing to us, our people, people who look like us? I hear the same reasons. I will not call them excuses, but I hear the same reasons all the time about why we don't do and this, that, and the third. And like we were discussing earlier, oh, you don't like taking pills. I'm not a big pill person either. But in general, if it don't smell good, taste good, make our skin silky, make our edges lie down, whatever it is, we don't want no parts of it. We are
Right.
very pleasure-oriented individuals or community. So a lot of our vitamins, not all of them, because we've expanded our line to now 15 or 16 from our original 6, but a lot of our vitamins are gummies because it's like, how do I reach the people who do nothing? How do I appeal to the person? Like, how do I break down that barrier of anything that doesn't bring them a sense of like, I want to do this. They have to enjoy it. They have to want to do it. How do we make health cool, right? So that's why a lot of our vitamins are gummies. We do have tablets because some people are not gummy people, which is fine because we want to reach as many people as possible. But that's kind of how we came to the concept. But from a big picture, it's really about the mission. So pro-Black health honestly means the promotion of the health of Black people. We want to use the vitamins as like a conversation starter. This is like a tangible vehicle, something you can do, but the conversation is, what else can you do?
Right.
How can we eat healthier? In an ideal world, our actual what we're eating, we should be able to get all of our A's, B's, C's, D's, antioxidants, minerals, all that. But it's unrealistic in 2022. It's probably been unrealistic for the past 30 years for a lot of people, right?
Right.
So this helps fill in those gaps. But we really want this to be about the overall health, mental health, physical health, spiritual health, relationships. What are things you can do outside of the vitamins that are also going to benefit you in a positive way? So it's really about the concept of like just overall just making us a healthier people and a healthier community. The vitamins is just like a cool thing,
Right.
that is one little thing you can do. But how can you drink more water? How can you cook differently? How can you be more active? How can you teach that to your kids? A lot of adults, it's not too late, but it's really too late for us, for y'all. But in order to get a healthier community in general, you got to touch the kids. As the kids grow up, then that's where it is, because then they're going to teach their kids. This is bigger than us. We want 40, 50, 60 years from now, how are they going to be? Everyone alive today is kind of where we're going to be. But the future is what we're trying to change.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, it's just so true. And I have one of mine here. This one happens to be a pill, but this is the
small. That one is
organic
small.
Superfood.
Exactly. Yes. But that one is not, that's not your mama's greens.
Yeah, not your mama's greens.
Exactly.
So yeah, and that's the other thing I like. They have so many neat names, all of the different vitamins and supplements that you do make available. I love that. We're going to get into that here, just some of that in a second. So we have a question. So there's a weight loss pill that's dissolved in water and you drink before bed. You see pill ads with Dr. Oz. Does it work? Oh, that was a question that we have.
I'm not familiar with that pill in general, but I can tell you that most of these supplements or medicines, they don't work in the long run. When you do these medications, when you do these powders, when you do cleanses for the sole purpose of losing weight, it's water weight and it's stool. It's not sustainable fat loss. And at the end of the day, no matter what you do, it's going to be your diet and your exercise. And even that, if this was a scale, 80% of weight management is what you're eating or what you're not eating. 20% is how active you are. You cannot out-train a poor diet, okay? So that's what it boils down to. So you can take whatever, I can't say it's harmful, but it's not realistic to think that you're going to lose or be able to maintain weight loss that is fat, because the fat that's hurting you, it's not realistic in terms of actually improving your weight management. I have not found one yet.
Thank you for that. And and I just think, personally, anything that's kind of like a quick fix, because I will admit, I did smoothies for a while and I lost good weight.
and you probably gained it back.
Yes, and then some.
Yeah.
I mean, I was exercising. Yeah, I was doing all of the right things at that time, but then it's like, you think, oh, I got this, and you go back to your old habits, and those things like that aren't sustainable. So So yes, but back to the supplements for a minute. Now we talked about the vitamin deficiencies, and my research, and of course you are the expert, shows that we vitamin D is one that we as African Americans really don't get. So what is it about vitamin D specifically that is a challenge for us as Black people?
Sure. So vitamin D, there's the main two ways to get vitamin D is one, our skin absorbs UVB rays, and then our body will convert that eventually into vitamin D. Well, the melanin blocks that, so a lot of us are at a disadvantage compared to fairer skinned people because we're going to block a lot of that UVB absorption. Okay. Then you got to look at, it's 2022 and how many people are outdoor cats. Like my husband's like, you're an indoor cat. You hate going outside. I mean, that's just, I mean, I'm a child of the 80s, and I was always tucked up under my mom. I was indoors a lot. Right. And I work indoors and all that. But a lot of people are, video games and social media. There's not that same, drive to be outside, which I really want to change. But we're not outside as much even to get the same exposure. Then a lot of African Americans or Black people, we're lactose intolerant. So another way to get vitamin D is through fortified foods, right? So our milks, our cereals, a lot of breads, manufacturers put vitamin D supplementation in them. So if you're not one to drink a lot of milk because it, upsets your stomach, that's another disadvantage. So, and you don't realize how low it is often until you start feeling pretty crappy. You go to the doctor and you check, because people don't understand or don't realize how bad they feel until they feel good. Because you get, that's your new normal. Like I get headaches probably several times a week. And I went to a doctor once and he was like, aren't you concerned? I was like, no, I take a goody powder and I'm fine. He was like, but it's not normal to get headaches that often.
Right. That's true.
But it's like, it's about perspective. It's like, oh, my stomach hurts a couple times after I eat. Your stomach shouldn't be hurting. You got to get to the why. So it's not until you start replacing even some of these low vitamins and minerals, and you're like, man, I guess I wasn't feeling as good as I thought I was, So it's really a trip, why surveillance and preventative care and just getting a checkup to really just see, are you living as optimally as you could be? It's like tapping up all your breaker fluid, your windshield wiper fluid. You need to be tapped off the same way as our trucks and our cars.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you do have, through PROBLK Health, you do have a vitamin D supplement to help with that. For those of us who might not get the sunshine or might not be able to get outside and walk as much. So that's good that you do have that.
It's called Sunny Days.
Sunny Days. Yes. Thank you. Because I wrote down what it is, but I didn't write down the name. So thank you.
Yeah, it's Sunny Days. And it's a vitamin D supplement, and it's like tropical flavor. That's like peach and mango. It's really good.
That's one of the ones I was telling you earlier. I need to replace mine.
Yeah, I got you.
You also have, what I love is you have multiple vitamins as well. One for the queens, one for the kings, and one for the kings and queens that come, the kids. Yeah. So I like the fact that you do that as well, because of course, as men, women, children, we all have different needs in terms of our vitamin intake.
Exactly. So it's king essentials, queen essentials, young royalty, and it's a generally comprehensive multivitamin. So some people, even when you take a multivitamin, depending on what your lab work shows, if you have any symptoms, you may need to add extra iron or extra calcium or extra D. So it's a good start to try to fill in most of the holes in people's diets. It was important for us, especially, you notice the names, I really wanted them to speak to us. And I think, as African Americans, we often forget that we came from a legacy back in Africa where we were kings and queens and royalty. And we had a certain respect about ourselves that after the last 400 years has really been beat out of us, and it's like, I think part of living a healthy life is having the mentality that you deserve it. You deserve the best. You can do it. You are smart. You are beautiful. You are capable. And we wanted to distill positivity, and we wanted to put kind of that thought that you are good enough and important enough to do this for yourself, you know, to really take advantage of your own health so that you can live your best life.
Absolutely. That is so important.
Yeah.
So important. Okay, so let me see. We got a note from someone who just bought some. Hey,
Oh,
I,
wow.
I literally just ordered 5 bottles. First time trying anything from you. That's how much confidence I have in what you're doing for us. Love it. All right. Good
Thank
deal.
you so much. Let us
Yes.
know your feedback, how you like them. We like to interact with our customers. We like to improve. We want to expand the line, but let us know. We really put a lot of work in getting products that are super high quality, that are very comprehensive, but also that taste good or easy to take and make you feel good. Like we really, like I said, compliance is everything. If it doesn't appeal to you for you to do it on a regular basis, what is the point? So definitely let us know what you think, because we wanna do better, be better. If there are things that we could.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is a conversation I had with a coworker earlier. You know, of course, a part of this whole healthier eating thing, we're doing a lot more plant-based diets and things of that nature. You do have a blend that is good for vegans?
Yeah.
Correct.
So almost all of our supplements, both gummies and our tablets, are plant-based or vegan or vegetarian friendly. There's one, our Black is Beautiful, which is a gummy, has some collagen in it, which does come from fish bones, which if you're vegan goes against veganism.
Right.
But we don't use any pectin. We don't use any gelatin, which is often a pig byproduct. So all of them are plant-based. But Living My Best Life, which is a tablet, you have it. Let's see, there's a thing. Can you see it? The light is so bright. But this is a tablet that is super comprehensive. I mean, it has any and everything in it. It has all your A's, B's, C's, D's. It has like an herbal blend that has a probiotic in it. Probiotics are important, and people often underestimate that. We do have a gummy probiotic and a tablet probiotic. Probiotics, for those who don't know, are good bacteria to help neutralize the bad bacteria that are in your GI system. And oftentimes when people say that vitamins upset their stomach or don't work for them, it's often because you can't absorb them well, because the bad bacteria are kind of just ruining, your lawn, if you will. You need like a nice, pretty intestinal lawn to be able to absorb everything. So probiotics can kind of help balance it out so that you can get even more benefits from any supplementation that you may take. But Living My Best Life also has probiotic in it. I mean, it's amazing. It is a bigger tablet. I'm not a fan of it because I don't do big pills. But Darian,
big pills. Yeah, it's kind of big. It is big.
But I mean, it gives you all the bang for your buck. I mean, it is like,
yeah, it's a good size.
Yeah, but you could break it in half. You could grind it up. If you really wanted to get just like a mega variety of just all the latest and greatest. That one it's an awesome supplement.
Okay. And actually, I was getting ready to go here in a minute anyway, but we got another question from Granola. I'm talking about the Goalie vitamins, the ACV. So tell us about the apple cider vinegar, and they're going away from that other brand and coming to you. Yeah.
So the mother, which is funny because being from New York, I used to always talk to Darian about his mother, like in my New York accent. So that's why I just named the mother. But it also is because the mother in apple cider vinegar, it looks, if you ever use, I can't remember the brand, but everyone has like that apple cider vinegar bottle. It's like kind of a tan or yellow wrapper. But the mother is like, if you look at the bottom of your apple cider vinegar, it looks kind of hazy. Well, that's where most of the nutrients are. So we actually have the mother inside these gummies. And it adds the extra benefit of it. So apple cider vinegar, it can be good for reflux. It can be good for appetite suppressant. But almost everyone that I know who's gotten the mother and has previously gotten Goalie, I mean, they enjoy the mother better, or they feel it's just as good in terms of the taste of it, and they start using ours. So, and it tastes so good. It tastes really, 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 really good. And I'm biased, but I'm honest. And I'm a taste queen, and they're amazing. So yeah, try it out. You won't be disappointed.
Absolutely. Well, that's good to hear. So you have the apple cider vinegar, you have the ashwagandha.
Yes, drama free. That's our
yes.
newest one, and that is the ashwagandha, and it's the zinc, and it's vitamin D in it as well. So ashwagandha is like kind of a cool buzzword. Goli, they just did their ashwagandha, but it's good for anxiety. There's studies that it can be good for weight loss, but it's a good way to kind of feed your body to give it a calming effect. It's good for sleep. Some people do it before they go to bed. So we do a melatonin, want to go night, which is good for sleep. But some people do ashwagandha for, to get their body to relax. So it's a great supplement if you are interested in that as well. So we're really trying to be as comprehensive as possible and have a little bit of something for almost everybody.
All right. And elderberry, which is good. I know what
keep
it's
your
good
guard
for.
up.
Yeah, keep your guard up. Yeah, I love the name. That's why I just say what it is. Let you get the hype name.
Keep your guard up. I mean, for obvious reasons. I think when COVID came, all of a sudden everything was about immunity and vitamin D and how that's good for your immune system. And elderberry. I think vitamin C has been the one most traditionally talked about for immunity, but vitamin D kind of shot up over the last couple of years in terms of research, because they were showing that people who are vitamin D deficient often had more symptoms, or more severe symptoms with COVID. And we found that it's a great immune booster. But elderberry has also been seen to have a lot of antioxidant property, and also be good for the immune system. So we did our own elderberry as well, and it's good. It's really good.
Yeah, I'm gonna, when we get done, I'm gonna be online ordering some new some more stuff.
Yeah.
Because from the last time I ordered, a little bit ago, there's some new things. So I'm like, yeah, I think it's time to make some switches and make sure that I'm supporting PROBLK Health as well, because some of the things that I like taking, and they're gummies. You have them. So, as Granola was saying, yes, let's switch over and do
it.
Our own. Let's support our own in every way that we can. And as I've been putting this promotion up, go ahead and take advantage of that. And all of their socials and website have been scrolling on the bottom. So make sure you tap in, get on their mailing list, get on their text list, all of those things. So you hear about the specials and when new things come out and all that. It's just very important to do that. The last supplement that I want to mention is you have 3 different formulas for hair, skin, and nails. You already mentioned the one that has the collagen. And then there are a couple of others, one for men and one for women.
Yes. So the Black is Beautiful is the gummy. Our tablet is Handsome Brother and Beautiful Sister. That also has the collagen in it, but they're tablets. So, and it also has a proprietary blend, fancy for a secret recipe, blah, blah, blah. But it has like special herbs and fruits and vegetables to kind of go above and beyond just basic biotin and collagen and keratin. So again, you can fit a lot more variety of supplements in a tablet than you can in a gummy, which is why often when you look at a tablet bottle, I mean, the list goes on and on and on, but not everybody will be compliant with that, right? So again, back to our initial thing, it's like everybody doesn't need the same thing. Like, how can we first reason people are doing nothing to give you something? There's bad, good, better, best. Some people, we just got to get to doing better, Once you're doing better, we can talk about how you can go to like the next levels if you need to.
Okay, Granola's like ordered King, the Mother, Night, and the 15-day cleanse and the elderberry. So yes, you got all the
reboot. Things. Okay, yeah, you're gonna be clean. Your sister.
That's what I need that as well, because I'm trying to make some shifts, some dietary shifts, and that's instead of going on some thing that is only going to work for a hot second.
Yeah.
Let me like do the cleanse, because I think we'll talk a little bit about how your 15-day cleanse helps people, just to set things back in order.
Exactly. And what I like that you said is it set things back in order. A lot of people use cleanses because they think that it's about the weight loss. And like I mentioned before, a lot of cleanses is to help clean your colon, get out toxins, get out waste. It's a lot of water weight. There's no point in doing a cleanse if as soon as you finish your cleanse, you're going back to eating all the crap and bad things you were doing before. Okay. The purpose of a cleanse is to kind of give you a clean slate, right? So now you've cleaned the table, but now you got to start putting the good things back on the table, or else you're just repeating a really just pointless cycle. So if you're committed to say, okay, let me just get baptized, or like dunk myself, in a spiritual way of putting that, let me
Mhm.
like start from scratch. That's how you should think of a cleanse. You don't want to do it too often because you don't want to get reliant on that stimulant to go. So you say, you know what, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do my cleanse. It's going to trigger my brain to tell me this is like my first day of starting to do something else that is not like for 2 weeks or 1 month or however long. This is, like you said, changing my diet, not being on a diet going forward. So these are things you should be doing almost every day into perpetuity. But that's how to really make a cleanse work best for you. It's kind of like literally a reset. If you, as soon as you're doing the cleanse, you just, oh, I'm going to lose a few inches for an event, and then you go back to doing the bad stuff. Okay, yeah, you're able to squeeze into that dress. But again, it's long-term health. It's not these like instant gratification blips in time. This is like, how do you want to feel and be a year from now, 10 years from now, or longer?
Mm-hmm. And that's powerful. Thank you so much for telling us that, because a lot of times just the mindset
Mhm.
that we have about doing certain things, we need to understand what we're doing and why.
Yeah,
So a part of your why, good segue,
I
with the
love it.
business is to be able to support other organizations, or organizations that are supporting Black health. 50% of your profits go to that, correct?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
50% of our net profits go back to nonprofit organizations that are seeking to eradicate health disparities in the Black communities. So, for
Mm-hmm.
instance, some of the nonprofits that we are supporting are Mothers of Black Boys United, um, Black Mental Health Alliance, Association of Black Women Physicians. And back to what we were talking earlier, we need more people who look like us in our community to one, have that bond and understanding, but so that patients will trust, because a lot of times patients don't trust people who don't look like them, and sometimes rightfully so, because there is a disconnect, but that's an organization that is trying to support and grow and increase the number of Black physicians. There's also it's called Black Health, but it's BLKHLTH. I mean, we have about 7 now that we're supporting, but at the end of the day, they all are about education in the community, building programs where you can have like mobile health buses. Like, how do we get people to check their blood pressure, or check their blood sugar, or mammogram screenings? Or how do we educate people on diet and exercise, or what does high blood pressure mean, or you have these illnesses, what are things to do and not to do to kind of halt it where it is, and so that it doesn't get worse? What are the signs and symptoms when it's really out of control and you're about to have a stroke or you're about to have a heart attack? So it's almost like, if the resources are not from outside, meaning the majority going to go into our communities and help us, how do we take that education into the community so that they can get it, even if they're not stepping outside of their block or where they live, to be able to get it? Because knowledge is power.
Absolutely, absolutely. And as I mentioned earlier, and you guys will hear more in the coming weeks, I am a part of Girl Trek, which
Mm-hmm.
is an organization, that a nonprofit organization that gets Black women out walking in our communities. And it's all about a lot of things that Dr. Karleena is talking about: being where the people are, having conversations, explaining the importance of these things, and us doing all that we can to help ourselves and not always looking for someone to come from the outside and save us, but we can save ourselves. And a
Exactly.
lot of times it's just by doing simple things, but we have to have the information so we know what those
Mhm.
simple things are.
Exactly.
So there'll be a
Exactly.
lot more coming as far as that is concerned. And once again, this is up about the promotion. I will be posting it on my social media channels again, so you see it, for the next week or so, a couple weeks, that you could take advantage of this particular promotion, because Dr. Karleena and her hubby, they believe in what we're doing and we're willing to do
I
that for
do.
the Brown Girl Collective audience. So I am so glad. Now it looks like we have one more last quick question from
Yeah.
Granola, because she's blowing us up. All right, order about the subscriptions. You do have subscriptions, which, by the way, this promotion is not good for that. But if you
Yes,
get a
but because
subscription,
there is a discount on the subscription service.
right,
So the
right,
subscription is like auto replenish. So you sign up for it, and then every 6 weeks, because the majority of our supplements are a 6 week supply, you will be
mm-hmm.
automatically sent it. You can stop it or change it at any time. So it's not like we got our little hooks in you, and it's like Planet Fitness, and you got to like make this whole big thing to get out of it. And we don't want that drama. But a lot of times with our hectic lives, you forget, and then next thing you know, you did that bottle. It might be 6 months before you do it again. But there is a 15% discount on auto replenish or the subscription model if you wanted to try that.
All right, sounds good. So we
Yeah.
answered your question. This is the last question, and this is someone that I know quite well, actually. Which supplements do you recommend for a vegan or plant-based diet? I haven't lost any weight, but haven't gained any either. I do feel sluggish from time to time. What may I possibly be missing in my diet?
The list goes on, and like I said, you almost have to get lab work to know for sure what it is. Oftentimes, vegan and plant-based diets, it's very hard to get iron. It's very hard to get vitamin D. It's very hard to get folate and B12 sometimes. So first, you gotta know what your deficiencies are, and then once you know what your deficiencies are, because there are vegan and plant-based is such a big thing. There are tons of supplements that will cater to that aspect. So if everything is good, I would say definitely find a comprehensive one that has all of that. But again, iron is very hard to get because there's heme iron, which is from animal-based products. There's non-heme. The non-heme is much more difficult for us to absorb. So you have to, really be focused on finding the appropriate supplement, and you have to watch your levels if they are low. Same thing with some of the Bs and vitamin D, but there's a way to do it. So what I recommend is first getting your levels checked and seeing if anything is completely out of whack. And then that will help guide you into terms of looking for what you need specifically. But for us in particular, I would say living my best life. Like I said, it's completely like vegan friendly,
Mm-hmm,
and has
mm-hmm.
almost everything in it. And I would recommend that. The other ones are as well. The hair, skin, and nail ones have the collagen in it, so I wouldn't recommend that if you are a vegan. But all of our other ones are plant-based and vegetarian, vegan friendly. So any of them you could try. But if you want the most bang for your buck, living my best life is like amazing.
All right. Well, sounds good. Thank you so much for the question. And that's going to wrap it up, because we could be here we could go all night.
I could do all day. I love talking about this stuff.
So is there anything, before we go, is there anything that I didn't bring up that you want to make sure that everybody knows about, what you're doing or what's next for PROBLK Health?
What's next for us is we're really trying to build our mission. So I think we have a good framework in terms of, a tangible product, a tangible resource. But now we're really trying to build on the overall education piece. So more to follow on that. We're planning some really awesome content, like I briefly mentioned earlier. We want to definitely be able, the more we're able to engage with customers and get customer support, the more we can donate back. And that's something that people need to understand is, it takes money to run a company. Like we were fine before, so this isn't for us to, go off and like get yachts and mansions and stuff. Like I have a good job, Darian had a good job, but this is really to build a legacy that will outlive us for the good of the group. But it takes money, i.e. sales, to be able to really donate to these other nonprofits, which is where our heart is. So you have to kind of keep that in perspective. So the more we're able to grow, the bigger impact we can have, because that's what we want. We're trying to write them big checks. Now
Right.
These are checks, but we trying to write big checks.
Right.
That's where I think, like, I really want to make an impact in this world. I really want to do good in so many communities. And all of us can do it if we work together.
Absolutely. Well, hey, that you said it right there. You said it right there. Write those big checks.
Big checks.
Or big checks.
That's
leave a legacy, and what's more important than a legacy of good health? Yeah. Health is wealth, and so many other.
Look, see, health is wealth. Is it backwards? No, it's straight.
It's straight. See? Health is wealth. See, and I didn't even know your shirt said that.
I know. See?
So obviously, and we live in the same town, this will not be our last time connecting.
It won't be.
Yeah, so I thank you so much, Dr. Tuggle-McDaniel. I appreciate your time. I'm going to put this up one more time, even though, people have seen it. I want to make sure, go buy your PROBLK Health Vitamins so we can support all of our brothers and sisters, out there who need to get this good news and have things that will help them live healthier lives, or as I say, live well, sister and brothers. Let's all live well. So thanks again for your time, everybody. Dr. Karleena specifically, I thank you. I appreciate you. We will definitely be in touch. I'm going to go place an order here in a minute. Get some more good stuff, and we'll be in touch. And everybody else, I will see you next week. Y'all have a good one. If you're celebrating the holiday, have a safe holiday. Enjoy your family. If not, and you got an extra day off, just enjoy the extra day off. So everybody take care. Dr. Karleena, stay there for 1 second.
Will do.
Everybody else, have a good night. Talk to you soon.
Good night, everyone.
All right. Bye-bye.